It's showtime.
What's up, guys? Django Fett here, hunting down games, comics, TV shows, movies, and more. And the moment of this year has come. War for the Planet of the Apes is here, the final movie of the Planet of the Apes prequel trilogy. After the successful Rise of the Planet of the Apes, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, this is the final one. And it doesn't disappoint whatsoever. This is directed by Matt Reeves, once again, who did the second movie, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, and he continues that tradition with this movie, and finishes this series with the big actual war we've all been anticipating and been wanting for quite some time. So Rise is set 15 years before war. That's when the initial events happened with the outbreak. The second movie is Dawn. That's actually 2 years before war, and now war is happening. So it's now I know the timeline. I didn't know the timeline for the longest time, but now I know. So it stars many people you know and love. Andy Serkis as Caesar. This guy doesn't get enough praise at all. He is one of the most phenomenal actors in this business. Not when it just comes to mocap in general, but as an actor, he is phenomenal. He puts his heart and soul into it, and I have huge respect for him for what he has done. Like, he's just known as the mocap guy, but he's just so much more to that. And I can't wait to see what he does with Black Panther as the villain. One of the villains. I mean, that movie looks like it has a shit ton of villains. But with Andy Serkis, he knows how to put out an act. He knows how to act his heart out, and he doesn't disappoint whatsoever in this movie. Caesar in himself is just a broken and beat down guy who's just regretting the things that he did in Dawn and trying to make up for it by leading the apes and becoming a stronger faction. But, in this movie, shit hits the fan and he starts to regress once again. But we also have other actors in this movie. We have, the other mocap people. We have the Maurice, just this gentle-hearted, orangutan, as well as Steve Zahn, who really captured it for me. Steve Zahn and Andy Serkis really captured the movie for me. So Steve Zahn plays as this ape called Bad Ape. He's actually outside Caesar's faction and survived on his own. He's kind of the zany ape who learned to speak and stuff, but he adds so much to the film. And this movie goes through a very serious tone, and he's like the comedic relief, and you think that would be a bad thing in this movie, but it actually works surprisingly well. I don't know how best to explain it, but once you watch it, you'll know what I mean, but he really adds to the film. Steve Zahn his acting in this movie, like for the mannerisms of the apes, and as well as the other actors who did the, ape acting, the way they portrayed the apes. I mean, the actors themselves who actually did the mocap, they did a phenomenal job. They know how apes, react and, how they act and how they walk and, the simplest stuff. And that's just, it blows my mind how they did that. Fucking blows my mind how they did that. Just watch the behind the scenes of Dawn of the Planet of the Apes or Rise of the Planet of the Apes, and you'll know what I mean. Just phenomenal stuff. I can't wait to see what they did with the behind the scenes of War for the Planet of the Apes. It should be fucking amazing. And we also have Woody Harrelson as the villain. And you would think that he would be like the Zombieland, pseudo comedic character, but he really portrays this really crazy villain very well, and he's just very convincing overall. He is just one crazy son of a bitch, and you want to see him dead. You want Caesar to kill this SOB. And this movie is all about the apes. It's all apes. It's Team Ape all the way, and the humans are just absolute scumbags throughout this movie, and that's what I wanted to see. Just apes killing humans. That's all I fucking wanted. Plus, there was one human who this one little girl with the apes. She, you really sided with her as well. She was the only human you cared about. Everyone else, you want to see those motherfuckers murdered. So, talking about Caesar in general, he's going down a downward spiral, so it seems. And the apes are in the middle of this retreat / struggle with this human faction led by Woody Harrelson. So let us talk about another thing this movie does well, and it's pretty evident, is the visuals, the CGI. After Dawn, this one pushes it to a whole nother level, and it pushes it beyond Dawn, which I still think hasn't aged one bit at all. It's a phenomenal movie. This movie, it looks so lifelike as soon as you have the camera close up to the actual mocap, apes and stuff, and especially Maurice, this gentle giant. He looks like an actual orangutan. I couldn't tell the difference. It's just remarkable to me. I just don't get how other movies are so lackadaisic when it comes to CGI, even though their whole movie is generally centered around CGI. But this one, it's remarkable to see how CGI has come to this day. It's just to make it so lifelike and real, and that you just can't tell if it's CGI. I don't get why Star Wars films haven't adapted from that, because that CGI, especially for the human faces, looks awful. God damn, if you're a AAA movie and you do this shit, what? Come on, that's fucking lazy. But gotta love what they did with the Planet of the Apes series. The visuals, outstanding. And not just for the apes, but also for the action, the cinematography. It's fucking mind-blowing, man. And it helps that the actors are committing to their craft, acting their hearts out with this visual spectacle. And it has some substance with the story. The actual story is just phenomenal. It adds a whole nother dimension to this movie. And the action is really great. It's fantastic. Though I will say, when you call it a war for the Planet of the Apes, you don't see enough war, then that was just my little complaint, is that there's not enough of the war aspect, not enough. There's plenty of action, don't get me wrong. But it's just not enough for the war actually be called a big war, because it's just a small little conflict that's going on, but it's not actual a big time war. You see it in the beginning and you see it throughout later on in the film, but it's not this big war that I envision for the film to be, just in my opinion. And then another complaint I would say is it doesn't really actually do a good job setting up Planet of the Apes, the actual Planet of the Apes, the first original. Maybe I have to watch the rest of the tons of other Planet of the Apes series movies out there after Planet of the Apes. There's a shit ton of others Planet of the Apes movies. Maybe I have to watch that, but still, I still don't think it's supposed to be the setup for Planet of the Apes. Didn't really see it to an extent for me personally. But other than that, I love this movie, man. This is by far my favorite movie of this year. The best movie I have seen this year. And it is without a doubt that this movie, War for the Planet of the Apes, gets a... I would compare this movie to The Return of the Jedi. I really would, when it comes to movies. A big third movie out there. But I will not say it is The Return of the King, because The Return of the King is definitely the best of the third movies out there, and the best movie I can think of. It's my favorite movie of all time. This movie is great, but I will not say it's on the level of Return of the King. But I will say this is easily in the discussion for top 5, top 3 movie trilogies of all time, movie series of all time. I am not joking with you when I say that. So I would say Lord of the Rings, Star Wars original trilogy, and this series, Planet of the Apes. Without a doubt in my mind, I really would consider Planet of the Apes number 3. Hell, I'm going to say it right now. It is number 3. I will also say this movie is an emotional ride from beginning to end. Much like Dawn of the Planet of the Apes was, this movie is definitely an emotional roller coaster. You feel sad, you feel happy, you feel, you feel laughter, you feel anger, you feel... it's just going through an emotional roller coaster. and it's just going for the serious tone, but there are moments where it takes itself funny, and it really works. It actually really works, surprisingly enough. But it just leaves you sort of in tears at the end. But I will say Dawn of the Planet of the Apes is definitely my favorite in the series. I think that one is just a complete movie with the human and the ape side that really works together very well. You feel for both sides in their own ways, you know, good and bad. You know, you just felt like you really sided for the apes, and at the same time there was this other thing going on with the apes. Humans, it's the same thing, you know, there's the good and bad people. But I will say I had more fun with Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, just in my opinion, so I really like that a little bit more. But War is not a bad movie by any means. This is a phenomenal movie experience. If you can see this, watch this in IMAX. I really think this movie would really stand out in IMAX, and it could really, like, you know, really appreciate the visuals, like, more than ever. I mean, I already saw it in original, you know, standard definition, but seeing it in seeing it in that form would be mind-blowing. I mean, I cannot imagine how it is in IMAX and XD or whatever they're calling now. Man, if I could see this movie a second time, I really would. But next week I am watching Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets, and I may consider Dunkirk and Dark Tower. That's a big if. I was really considering watching them, but I got vacation coming up, so I really want to take some time off and consider, you know, just going out and relaxing for once, because I've been working my ass off, and I just need to take a break, man. I really do. So just look out, maybe 1 week I might take off. So if you don't see a video, just letting you guys know, I might take some time off for a vacation. So if you don't see a video, then, you know, I'm on vacation, so I'm trying to relax. So I've been needing this for quite some time, and I haven't had a vacation in like 3 fucking years, man. So I need to relax and just take some time off, man. I really do. So thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to tell me what you think of War for the Planet of the Apes in the comment section down below. And don't forget to please like this video, comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel, Django Fett. And I'll see you, my fellow Mandalorian brothers and sisters, next time. Oh, yeah!